Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's food week. I'm so excited. I have lots of fun, fresh, summery meal ideas for you this week, and I am really excited to share them with you. I'm just going to show you a little bit of my grocery haul. I have kale and spinach. I love the darker greens. They just are a bit more nutrient dense and I prefer those. We've got some strawberries. These ones are a little sad, but they are still delicious. So we've got some strawberries. I've got citrus. I have bell peppers. I prefer the yellow and the orange, and jicama. I don't know if you guys are familiar with jicama. I'm a big fan of it. It's packs a punch nutrient wise, and so we got some jicama this week. Watermelon that my husband has already chopped up. Watermelon's one of my favorites. I'm usually hesitant to buy it this early in the year, but Connor picked one out and it was really good. Blueberries, tomatoes, which are already washed and packaged, grapes, which are kind of a staple in our house. We got some radishes, which I really like, but a fun fact, they're like the only thing I don't like that's pickled. Cucumbers, and then some squash, and that's our vegetables and fruits. In protein, we've got bacon, which I will cook later on in the week, and tofu. This one is actually frozen. I've had it in my freezer for a while. I read that tofu's texture is different once you've frozen it, and I needed to freeze it before it went bad, and so I did a little research and the internet said it was a good idea. So I'm really hoping that it is what the internet says it is. Salmon. My husband is a big fan of salmon, and quinoa is one of my grains this week. It's got lots of protein in it as well, and garbanzo beans. The protein in quinoa, you get like 8 grams per serving, and then the garbanzo beans are really chock full of protein as well. And then just some little additions. I got this Parmesan Caesar for a salad. I have some pepperoncinis, which I kind of just toss in randomly to different things, and some marinated artichoke hearts. I will go into greater detail with everything, obviously. When I was talking about everything while I was recording, when I listened back, I realized that my kids were kind of loud in the background and it was really hard to hear. So I just had to do it really quickly with my microphone. But now on to the prep work, which is the most tedious part of most of my weekly food stuff. But I am just chopping up the kale right now. I like things pretty small. I'm just cutting out the stem and chopping it up, and then I'm going to massage it with lemon juice and salt. The reason for this is because it just kind of tenderizes the kale, and it also helps it with helps you digest it when you do this. So I like to do it, and I've also noticed that it does keep the kale from wilting. So I'm just gonna get it all in the bowl. I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of lemon juice. You could go a little heavier, you could go a little lighter, you could use oil. I often have used olive oil if I didn't have any fresh lemon on hand, and then just a little bit of salt. You don't need a ton because you don't want it to be too salty either. So I'm just gonna squeeze some lemon juice in here, put a little salt in, and then massage it. It takes a little while, but I find that it's worth the time, and it does, I think, help increase the freshness of the kale, and you get a little bit more time out of it, and I just think it tastes better. Okay, so just want to talk a little bit about this food week while I massage the kale. I'm leaning into eating the rainbow this week. I am a personal trainer. I do love to talk about nutrition. I like to know what's in my food. And I am a big believer with having balance. So I am going to be showing a lot of salads, a lot of ways to just incorporate more colorful plants into your life. I don't think it needs to be overcomplicated. It does not need to be this big intricate recipe for a salad. For me, it's pretty simple. Sometimes it's whatever greens I have on hand and whatever fruit or vegetable I have. And oftentimes I just pour a little bit of balsamic vinegar on it and I'm good to go. But I'm simple, and some people like things a little bit more intricate, and you know, that's great too. But I'm just, this week my aim is to show you how to just incorporate things a little bit more easily into your diet to kind of increase your nutrient intake. Alice is always very interested in helping in the kitchen, and especially when it's food prep like this, where it is something from the earth, which is how we refer to like fruits and vegetables. I like to let her help. She usually will take a nibble, take a taste. It increases her interest, and I feel like it helps her not be afraid to try new things. So as stressful as it is to let her peel a cucumber, I will let her do it just because I feel like it's good for her to see that. Now I'm cutting up the jicama. It's a root vegetable. It has lots of antioxidants in it. It will help with digestion, lots of fiber. Don't overdo it or you will have the opposite effect, but it can just kind of pack a nutrient punch. It's a really mild, sweet flavor, and I really like it. This time I'm cutting it up to put like on salads and stuff. Other times you can, like I would cut it up really thin and put it in like crunch wraps, things like that. But I just feel like it's a really mild, versatile root vegetable that can be incorporated in a lot of ways. The radishes I am showing you, I don't cut them all the way for a salad because they'll go soft, but I do want to cut the heads off because the green part, like the stem part, gets stinky. So I'm just cutting that off really quick, and I will leave these whole. That's the one thing that I won't cut up all the way usually because they just kind of get soft and they're not as good as they could be. Now I'm getting the strawberries all chopped up. You saw Alice. She is always game for helping with the strawberries. I have said before I like to keep mine in glass. I think it just extends their shelf life a little bit longer in the fridge. Although I don't know why I waste the time because these strawberries are going to be gone like within the day. But then I'm going to do the bell peppers, and I think we'll have hit almost all of the rainbow. We've done our cucumber, we have blueberries, we've got a yellow pepper, an orange pepper, got our radishes and strawberries. So lots of fruit and vegetable, and they're all things that my kids mostly like, and a couple things they're not sure about, like the radishes. They're kind of hot and cold on those, but I try to incorporate something that's relatively new and then things that they typically like to eat. Sometimes they change their mind, but sometimes I change my mind. Kind of can't blame them on that one. Okay, so now it's time for small batch dressings. These are dressings that I have kind of just zhuzhed and adapted over time. I like to have options, but I find that having a bunch of big things of dressing in my refrigerator gets overwhelming, and a lot of the times they just go to waste. So I have made small batch, and I've put them up on the screen, and I've also put them in the description box, so go nuts. I won't gatekeep my dressings. But the lemon dressing is just really light. I like to put it in like kale salads, things like that, like with Parmesan cheese and croutons and all of my vegetables. And I usually use it with kale almost exclusively. There's just something about the combination that I really enjoy. And this one I'm going to use with some salmon later. The Balsamic Dijon is probably one of my favorites. That one's in a tie between that and the cilantro line, but this one I really like. I love balsamic vinegar. I usually just use that and I don't make a dressing. I'll just put that on some greens, but when I'm feeling a little extra, I will make a dressing, and this one is probably one of my favorites. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple, and I really enjoy it. Okay, now the cilantro lime ranch. There are so many versions of this out there. This is just kind of my mishmash of different recipes that I've read over time, and I just kind of tried to find a balance that I enjoyed. I think it's really easy to make. If you have a blender, an immersion blender, that really helps. If you don't have those things, if you just chop everything up really, really fine, I think that would work too. And then if you don't really like spicy, you can leave out the jalapeno. I don't think it really makes it super spicy. I think it just adds to the depth of the flavor. But this one, oh gosh, this might be my favorite. No, it might be the balsamic. Okay, I think this one and the balsamic are tied. I just really like these two dressings a lot. So that is all of our prep work done. I love prep work day because my fridge always looks really, really good. Now I am preheating the oven for the salmon. This is the way that my mother-in-law cooks it. So this is Tracy's recipe. It's pretty simple. It's just you bake it at 425 for 10 minutes per inch thickness of the salmon. And I feel like there's a better way to say that, but for the life of me, I cannot get my brain to get there. So I hope that makes sense, but it's really easy. Just salt and pepper and put it in the oven and cook it. And it comes out really, really good every time. I love it. I'm going to do a salmon with quinoa, and then I call my salads choose your own adventure salads. I've used this term before because that's what it is. You just put what you like. Today I'm leaning into the root vegetables, so I have radish and jicama, but I also wanted a little bit of sweet fruit, so I added the blueberries, and then I'm using the lemon dressing. Quinoa, which is really, really packed with protein and nutrients. It is kind of a protein powerhouse. It has all 9 essential amino acids, so I really love the quinoa. Now we're into the next day. This was my lunch. It's, again, like I said, I'm leaning into simplicity. This doesn't have to be complicated. I have the spinach, which is really rich in magnesium and other nutrient dense. Like the darker the green, the more nutrient dense it is. So we typically have spinach. I rarely ever have romaine. And then I'm just adding all of my reds and purples. So I have the watermelon, the strawberry. I guess I missed the radish. I had a good avocado, which is always really exciting. And that avocado has lots of healthy fats in it. Fats are not the enemy. It's just making sure that you find balance with that. But adding avocado, I have my beloved pickled onions and then cotija cheese. I really like this. I'll kind of alternate between that and feta cheese usually. And then the balsamic vinegar. This salad might have been my favorite one of the week. It was just really good, really fresh, bright, really delicious. This is the next day. I didn't do anything fancy for dinner. I'm pretty sure like I said, we had Taco Bell the night before, so all things in balance. But Alice wanted to do this kind of lunch. She picked everything out. I'm just kind of making my jicama a little extra by adding some lime juice and the Trader Joe's chili lime seasoning. And then we went outside and we got some sunshine because that is also really good for you. I have some almond crackers and sweet potato crackers on there. And it was just a really good lunch. Alice made some really good choices. And now we're on to pesto pasta. Wow, I feel like this is going by really fast and all I'm doing is talking, sorry. But pesto pasta, I found a recipe like as close as I could find to what I did. I kind of made this one up off the fly. I got the idea from my sister years ago and I've just kind of adapted it and made it work for my family. But it's just rotini pasta, red onion, bell pepper. Sometimes I'll put olives in it. Sometimes I'll do like sun-dried tomatoes. You can really just kind of lean into it and do whatever you want. But I really love artichoke hearts in it. So that is definitely a must in here. And some tomato. I did forget to add the pepperoncinis at the end, so you won't see that, but it is a really good addition to it. It just kind of adds a vinegary spice to it, which I really enjoy. But I'm going to cook this pasta for a bit, and then I will show you my secret to getting greens into my children. Okay, my secret, I blend up spinach. Pesto and spinach juice are the same color, so it's my way of cheating, but it's just a bunch of spinach, cup of water. I blend it up. It makes the most vibrant, beautiful green liquid on the planet, and then I just add it in to my vegetables. The key though is to let it cook a little bit, let the water kind of cook off so it's not super runny. Oh, it's so pretty though, look at that. And then I add my pesto in. I get the Classico. It doesn't have any nuts in it. My husband has like an ambiguous nut allergy. He's allergic to some but not others. He's been getting shots for years, and so I'm just careful. We don't know if pine nuts are safe yet, so Classico is a good one if you have a nut allergy. And then I just combine everything. I save the artichoke hearts for last so that they're not cooked because they're already ready to go. I stir it up, and my kids have no idea that there is a copious amount of spinach in there, and they eat it and it's great. And then I ate it just like my kids. Pasta, grapes, and carrots, simple and sweet. Now on to the air fryer barbecue tofu. The recipe I have on there was the inspiration for this. It called for barbecue chicken skewers, but then I thought, no, I need to do another meatless thing this week just because I like to do that. And I have this tofu, and I did some research online, and I did link the recipe that I used for this one. But I'm just pressing my tofu right now to get the excess liquid out of it, and I had to get a little creative for that because the plan I had didn't work. So I just used all the canned goods that I could find in this pot, put it in there for 30 minutes, and a good amount of the liquid came out. And it was kind of an interesting ordeal to squeeze out the rest of the liquid, but it was kind of satisfying. I don't know, if you're put off by weird wet textures, maybe don't do that. Oh boy, sorry. Now I'm cutting up the tofu, and as you can see, the texture it's spongy. It's not as soft as it would be if it were fresh. And I actually was pretty impressed with how this turns out because as I was reading about it and making sure that I wasn't just going to be wasting my tofu, it talked about how it kind of gives it this like chewy texture, almost like meat, and they weren't wrong. My kids thought it was chicken, so I call that a win because they did eat it. They don't dislike tofu, but they much prefer chicken nuggets, and this was pretty close to that. But I am just making a marinade. I kind of wish I just marinated it in my favorite barbecue sauce. The marinade for this that I'm linking in it's not bad, but it did end up just a little bit dry. So I think next time I would either double the recipe or just marinate it with some barbecue sauce of my choice. So take that for what you will. So I'm going to refrigerate that, let it sit. The great thing about tofu is it just kind of sucks up the flavor in a short amount of time, which is really great. I'm preheating the air fryer, and once that comes up to heat, I am going to cook the tofu. I cooked everything for about like 10 minutes, flipping halfway through. I'm not great at keeping track. I have a bad habit of like playing the piano or something while I'm cooking, so I'm not a reliable source for how long to cook things sometimes, but just follow the recipe. It turned out pretty good. And now I am making my salad. I just used the cilantro lime dressing and a bunch of the fruits and vegetables that I had. I did defrost some frozen corn to put on there, and also some black beans to kind of increase the protein and just kind of give it that like Mexican salad flair. I don't know if that's a thing. Is that the thing that I did? Is that what you would call this? I don't know. I linked the recipe in the description box. It looks really, really good. I think what I produced is really, really good. And look at all the vegetables that I used. That's a lot, and it was so delicious. And now we are on to the last recipe. Wow, that went by so fast. This one's really simple. I am making a Caesar salad with a twist. So I'm gonna cook some bacon and make some homemade bacon bits. I just like the fresh stuff a little bit better. And then I don't have a giant bag of bacon bits sitting in my refrigerator for a small eternity because we don't use them that much. But my twist is chickpeas. The can says garbanzo beans, but they're the same thing. Instead of chicken Caesar salad, I'm making a chickpea Caesar salad, and let me tell you, it's pretty darn delicious. My kids are fans of chickpeas. as you can see, little hands stealing them. And I just really like chickpeas. They're really versatile. They have all 9 essential amino acids, which I said before, but they're just good for you. And I think it's a great alternative. I've said before that I like to incorporate meatless days throughout the week. I'm cheating. There is bacon on this, but I mean, can you blame me? Bacon's delicious. So this was my way to get my kids to be a little bit more enthusiastic about Caesar salad, and it worked. They ate it and they liked it, and it was delicious. There you go. That's it. That's everything. That's the whole food week, and it went by so fast, but I hope you enjoyed this. I cannot believe that it's already done, but I appreciate you being here. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. All the recipes that are available are in the description. If you have questions, please just leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Bye.